Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast. We've got a phenomenal guest for you today. She's a 20-year real estate guru, a girl mom, a mentor, a fourth generation mortgage professional, and now author. Please help me welcome Lindsay Meyer to the show. Lindsay, welcome.
Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it. I'm so pumped to be on today
Well,
with
it
you.
is It is great to have you on, and welcome to the Rethink Everything family. I was part of the original Green Book, so it is great to have you in the Rethink Everything family. I want to dive into that in a few minutes. But there was a statement as I was reading through your bio that really grabbed my attention. And I want to start there. It says, you state that you thrive at the intersection of innovation and connection. Tell me, what do you mean by that?
Sure. I will give an example. Just this week alone, I've been on about 5 tech calls exploring new technology, whether, it's having to do with the origination side, a little more of a personal interest, or technology that I think would be fantastic for EPM. And I think through that process, I've also met people by reaching out, taking advantage of 15-minute connects, and also being able to schedule that time to learn more. So that's been working for me as of late, and that's where that came from. I just love to learn about new tech and also meet new people along the way.
Well, we're going to dive into tech in a few minutes. I'm glad you brought that up because we'll dive into AI and some of the cool things that you're seeing. But let's go back to the book for a second and let's start with and kind of set the tone. Why the book? Why now? And what is it about the mortgage industry today that needs a book like this more than anything?
Right. Well, first of all, thank you for the welcome. I love being a part of the family. I'm just learning what that means, which is an endless amount of opportunities for us all, and
Absolutely.
something we share in common. So thank you. And the Green Book was really an important first book. It made such a splash, fantastic authors. So thank you for leading the way for us all. So really
Uh,
appreciate that. Why now? That's a question where my instinct just told me to ask a question. I had the energy and opportunity to connect with Kyle Draper and can I write a Rethink Everything You Know About Networking book? I did not know what I was getting into, only in a good way. I think all of us as authors have grown through the process. So
Absolutely.
it ended up being the perfect timing. And now we're launching at MBA. I appreciate it.
So
It's just
talk
so
to me
fun.
about what are the challenges that people have in networking today? Is it they don't know how to network in face-to-face interactions? They don't know how to network online, how to merge the two together? Walk me through some of that.
Well, first of all, we all know how to communicate and connect with other humans, animals, nature. So every one of us has it in ourselves to be able to continue connecting. I think the big part is feeling comfortable, making sure that you are yourself and you're also comfortable in your own skin. And I think some of that might be maybe you need more education in your career and what you need as talking points. Maybe you just need to do a little bit more work and reach out to a local club and go. Bring a friend. So I think that all of us have it in us. It's just exploring our capabilities and also getting used to a new process or new flow.
I love that. And I think networking becomes so critical in the industry because, as you well know, people buy from people they know, they like, they trust. Well, how do you build up that trust? You network. And the other reason why it's so important to bring this up is we are in the throes of conference season. I saw you in Florida about a month or so ago. I'll see you at MBA Annual in Vegas. I can't wait as we talk about a lot of cool things in Vegas. But with conferences, networking becomes even more critical in creating those genuine relationships. Is there one tip? Is there two tips that you would share about what's one way to connect with someone on a personal level where it's not just throwing a sales pitch at somebody?
I think that when you're at a conference, a tip or two would be make sure that you remember the people you connect with, whether you're taking a note, texting yourself someone's name, or even linking in on the spot to then be able to go back and follow up. So I think being able to have a process system, something that works for you, to be able to acknowledge and remember those connections in the future. 49% of us don't follow up. And I think that's the one thing we need to pay attention to and create a system around it that works for each individual and company.
I love that tip. And I think you're so right about, that's almost half of us don't follow up. You spend all the time, the money, the effort, the resources to go to these events, and then you don't even take the time to follow up with the people that you connect with. Take a picture of their business card, take a picture of them, take a picture of their LinkedIn profile, whatever it may be. Find that opportunity so that when you get back, you can connect, you can reach out, and you start fostering and growing that relationship.
Michael, you do a really good job of that as well. When you meet people, you tag them, you connect them, and just in that one effort, you're already connecting people to others that they might not have met, that they can connect with, that they can then lead with a conversation or a message. So I applaud you, and I know you're a master at marketing, AI tech, social media. So I think that if everyone takes a look at Michael's content, you'll see the path and you will see how you can interact with people and remember them as well. I've tried to take your lead a little bit.
Well, thank you. You were too kind for that. I still learn every day, and that's why I can't wait to get the book. I can't wait to meet with you in person and talk about some of these nuances because I think there's so many things we can learn. There's so many dynamics that are changing in the industry. You're a fourth generation mortgage pro. Talk to me a little bit about that. What's that like? What was it like growing up? Was it something you were encouraged to do? Was it something you were excited to be a part of? Was it something you wanted to have nothing to do with?
Yeah, I was not a Barbie doll player. I was the one who would pretend to be a travel agent or switch rooms with my sister and be in a new apartment. So more of real world play. And so from the beginning, even before I was born, my great grandmother, my grandfather, and my father, along with my two uncles, two aunts, and now cousins, jumped into the mortgage world. So I walked into it. I have a rate card from 1985 where I have pigtails and my mom's holding me and we're the family on the rate card, which is epic. And then I remember sitting in my basement during summer times, licking envelopes, going through, mailing things out. I just loved being in the office and being with my family and the culture. That's extremely important. One thing we have at EPM and one thing that I was born with is having an excellent culture. So I very easily blended into that era and now family business.
I absolutely love that. And let's go back. You said your great grandmother was in the mortgage industry. She must have been an incredible trailblazer.
Yeah, well, and it was mostly her son, my grandfather, Don Springer, who he was in the insurance business, moved into more mortgage insurance. My dad came into play once he graduated college. They built mortgage companies for banks and then stumbled onto now our SaaS tech company, Rate Plug. We just launched Affordal. So we've really evolved. As you've said, you're constantly learning. I am constantly learning, and I have loved being on that journey with my family and all of my colleagues to just, adapt, pivot when you need to, and grow something awesome. So,
Oh, I absolutely love that. So let's start talking a little bit about technology. You've talked about
yes.
how you love that intersection of innovation and connection. What are some of the things you're seeing in the mortgage industry now? Whether it's from tech, some of the tools that people are rolling out, where are people spending their time and energy in the mortgage space right now as it relates to technology?
I think everyone's looking at their tech stack and trying to reinvent themselves. Technology is always advancing. We have to stay on top of it. And through the book, I had a session with Jake Vermillion and Jay Arnasia, and I love their two chapters where it's important to have human interaction with AI technology. And I remember back in the day, probably over a decade ago, I would have to say, or maybe 7 years ago, when I worked at Doma and we had an AI title tech option. And I think that it's just constantly evolving, constantly growing, and I love learning new tech. So um, that that's what I'd have to say on that one.
I couldn't agree with you more. And there's so many things happening with AI. You mentioned AI. Is there some cool AI tools out there that you've either tried, you've seen other lenders have success with? What are some of the AI tools that are in production? Not the theory, not hey, this is coming someday, but what are some of the tools you're seeing in production today?
One of my favorites that is Grows IQ. Uh, I have been connecting with Elena Groves. They also have Groves Capital, and they've created basically an AI system to make it very simple. You answer 3 questions, you upload your documentation, and it walks everybody, whether it's the loan officer, the buyer, the processor. It connects that technology, and it makes it readable for people to understand what is needed. It walks people through, and it is an alert system of, hey, we're missing this one doc, and all parties are involved. So I'm not going to explain it completely because, Elena's getting off and running, but she's definitely someone to look out for. And I love learning more recently in the past 2 months about Groves IQ. So it's been an excellent relationship. And she connected with me, wrote a little note. I reached out, took 15 minutes, and we ended up for the first week we met on like 5 phone calls. So it's so cool.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to address there. For one, that's a new AI tool that I was not familiar with. I've been speaking a bunch in the last 18 months on AI, so I will have to go check that out. I always love these conversations because we learn something new. And then you talked about, and I really want you to spend a little bit of time analyzing this and kind of helping our listeners because I think you do a masterful job of this. You said, okay, somebody reached out to you on LinkedIn, and it could be you reached out to someone on LinkedIn. How do you turn that outreach into a 15-minute conversation where people want to get on the phone? They don't think they're just going to get this hard sales pitch, and it turns into a wonderful conversation, and now it's a blossoming relationship that you'll have in the business.
Yeah, I think it's always unexpected, but each time it happens, and the more you reach out and put the effort in, uh, it's 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 reciprocal. So you will continue to keep seeing movement. And it was just a simple message. I actually, if I can find it. Hi, Lindsay. Nice to meet you. I always love connecting with other women in mortgage. I said, lovely to meet you as well. Thanks for sending along a note. Would love to connect for a few in the next week or two. My email is lindsay.meyer@epm.net. Shoot me 15-minute options and I'll set it up. Have a beautiful day. Sounds great. I'll send you an email. My email is this.
I absolutely love that because I love the simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not threatening. It's not, oh my gosh, I'm going to sell you, but it also has an action item, right? Do this. And if they don't respond, then great. You weren't meant to connect with that person at this time, but that didn't take you a ton of time to follow up and do that. But now you learned a new tool. You've made a new connection, and that just continues to evolve and grow. I mean, and that's part of how you probably got involved in the book process and the Rethink family and everything else is that one connection builds on another and builds on another. I love the simplicity of that.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, I think, keep it simple. Just keep it simple. It's okay to do so.
Talk to, talk to me about how do you make that transition from there's so much that we do online right now, so much digital, and then how do you make that transition to in-person meetings, and are in-person meetings just as important as online? How do you merge and mesh the two?
I'll use Elena for an example again. We're actually going to meet at NAM and MBA next week. So I think sharing tips and opportunities. I think she's coming to the MBA because we were able to learn more about it. I don't know if her and her husband, Christopher, have ever been, but it's just an opportunity where people are enabled and see an opportunity not only for them personally, but professionally. And then it's an opportunity to meet other people and knowing, hey, we are going to be a sponsor of the industry party. This is going to be a 400-person plus party Sunday night. I would love to introduce you to my people. And what happens then is you're introduced, you have that warm lead, that warm connection, and
Yep.
it's not so, you know, rigid, if that makes sense.
Right. And
So,
it's not threatening. It's in
no,
a casual environment. And I think that you've seen this too, is as you do more and more online, when you finally meet people in person, it's like a long lost friend. They give you a
yeah,
big hug. There's that instant connection. You already have something to talk about. And that's really the power of this industry. And you've seen it for four generations, the power of connection, the power of building networks. Some of the tools we use are a little different than the early days, but whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's video like this, that power really resonates and makes it human for the person that's on the other end.
right, right. And I want to ask you, Michael, I saw some recent credentials and certifications. It looks like you've been taking a few AI classes this year. Tell me a little bit about what you've learned and how that applies to what we're discussing.
AI is ever evolving. And I think the most critical thing is people have to lean in and start using the tools. Whether it's chat, whether it's perplexity, whether it's Gemini, whether it's Claude, start trying some of those and you'll start seeing, hey, I could use this for X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in being a lifelong learner. So I've gotten multiple certifications. It's funny you were talking about that. I signed up for a new AI class this morning. It is like a 30-day challenge, and you have different assignments that you have to do each day. Within the 30 days, you'll master so many different traits. Talking to people like yourself about AI is critical. And then I've had the wonderful pleasure of teaching a number of AI classes for 2020 Vision for Success. So I work with loan officers. How do they create their own GPT? How does it bring on their own persona? How do you humanize and personalize it so it doesn't sound like chat? You know, one of the big red flags I see, and people doing it, don't get mad at me. I'm not calling you out individually, but I will call you out. Quit doing this. Is people that use chat and you see all of those social icons and emojis. The biggest red flag is those green check marks. Just delete the green check marks. You can put a prompt in that says, do not use social icons or emojis. It doesn't mean you shouldn't use these AI tools, and it doesn't mean they can't enhance and create your post. But if you want more credibility, you don't want it to look like I just cut and paste from AI. So those are a couple quick things that I'm seeing in AI. But I think it's ever evolving. And when I see you in Vegas, I can't wait to talk about some of the other AI tools that you're using. This has been a delightful conversation. You are welcome back
Thank
anytime.
you.
We could talk for hours,
We could.
and we will talk more. I know we're going to be shooting some videos at MBA Annual, so we'll share more of these stories. But Lindsay, I can't thank you enough for being a guest on this episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast.
Thank you so much, Michael.